Hello everyone, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing great. And today we are going to talk about a very important concept of programming, which is JavaScript environment. JavaScript is never alone. There is some sort of environment like node environment or browser environment that is working with JavaScript. Now, how do they collaborate? How do they work? Today we are going to see that. So without any further ado, let's get started. Here you can see some popular JavaScript functions. setTimeout fetch document.getElement by ID. We have used them so many times. Even if you have just worked for 1 month in JavaScript, you know them. Now the question is, do you know these are actually facade functions? Let's see what is a facade function. Suppose you are giving a load of umbrella to this guy to carry. And this guy, rather than carrying this load of umbrella by himself, he is actually passing the work to this guy. But this guy took the impression that he did the work. Then we will call this guy a facade guy. Let's see a code example. So there are basically two objects, pink guy and green guy. And both have carry functions, carry the load. And you are asking the pink guy to carry the load, a load of umbrellas. Okay, so this guy is supposed to carry the load, but what he is actually doing, he is calling the green guy to carry the load. And it is passing all the umbrellas to this green guy. Now the green guy is actually carrying the heavy load. So we will call this function a facade function. Okay, why is it a facade function? Because you call this guy to carry, but this guy, rather than carrying it himself, he passed the work to some other function. So that's why this function is a facade function. Now the question is, if they are facade functions, they are passing their tasks to some other function. Who are they passing it to? That's the big question. Let's see that. First, we need to digest the idea that JavaScript is never alone. See, here we have the JavaScript environment, but it is actually working with the browser and node environment. And browser and node are providing a lot of APIs to JavaScript environment. If you do not know about API, please go and watch the previous lecture. You will get a very good understanding of API. And remember, this browser and node environment is actually a C++ environment. Node is written in C++ and browser like Chrome, that is written in C++. So it is a C++ environment. And you know that JavaScript is a simple language. It does pretty much the basic things. Like here, if we look at this, what we are doing here, we are just creating a variable a and we are assigning 10 to a. And then we are assigning 20 to variable b. And in this line, we are just saving the addition of the a and b to variable result. Okay, so it's a very simple thing. And this simple thing will be done only in the JavaScript environment. But when the execution will come to this point, this setTimeout function, when this function will be called, this is a facade function. So it does not do anything in the JavaScript environment. Rather, it calls some other function from the browser and node API, and it just passes its parameters. There are two parameters. One is this function and another is this number. Okay, and what this setTimeout function does, it basically waits for 3 seconds, and after 3 seconds, it just executes this function. So what will happen here basically, this parameter and this parameter will be passed to this environment, to the browser and node environment by calling a function, and that function will take some parameter, and in that parameter, they will be sent as an argument. And remember, this is a JavaScript environment and this is a C++ environment. So from the JavaScript environment, there is a way to call C++ functions. And here it will wait for 3 seconds. Like all the time ticking will be done here. 1, 2, then 3. And after 3 seconds, what will happen? Browser and node environment, it will basically send this function back to the JavaScript environment. And JavaScript will execute this function. But it does not directly send it to the JavaScript environment call stack. There is some sort of queue, and from that queue, the event loop will take it to the call stack. And how that works, we will see that in the next lecture in asynchronous execution. The purpose of this lecture is to show you that there are actually two environments working together. They are collaborating, this JavaScript environment and browser and node environment. And there is a lot of back and forth happening between these two environments. Now let's see one more example. Here you can see this fetch function. And we all know that we use fetch function for network request. And this function is a facade function. So it does not do anything in JavaScript environment. Rather, it just passes these parameters to this environment by calling some API. And this environment will send the request out in the internet. And from there, a response will come back. So there will be a response. And that response from the browser and node environment will be sent back to the JavaScript environment. This is how it works. So to us, it feels like JavaScript did all the work because we called fetch function and we got the value. But under the hood, it actually passed the work to the browser and node environment. And it did the heavy work. Let's see one more example. Document.getElement by ID. This is a very popular function, but this is a facade function. It does not do anything on JavaScript environment. Rather, it passes this parameter to the browser and node environment. And remember, the browser has the DOM object. JavaScript environment does not have the DOM object. So every time you are asking the DOM object to give you something, it is actually passing the work to the browser. And from the browser basically finds out the element. Suppose the element is like some div element. So this element basically found from this ID. And then it will send this to the JavaScript environment. And this variable will point to this object. This is how it works. This is how they collaborate together to make a fully functional production level application. Now the big question is why the architecture is like this? Why the JavaScript environment will have to call some function from the C++ environment? Why doesn't JavaScript have everything? The reason is basically security issues. Browser does a lot of things under the hood. If all the things are given to JavaScript environment, there will be no such thing as security. All the applications will have vulnerabilities. For that reason, JavaScript has been kept very simple. And whenever it needs something that it doesn't have, it will simply call the APIs from the browser and node environment. And remember one thing, JavaScript is single threaded. As JavaScript is single threaded, how will it handle asynchronous execution? For that, it needs the help of another environment. And how does this asynchronous execution work in JavaScript? We will see that in details in the next lecture. Till then, take care of yourself. And the way the browser and node environment is helping the JavaScript environment, which is single threaded, the similar kind of help you can do by subscribing and like the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. Take care of yourself.